Hey guys, and welcome to the Datapad podcast. I'm Ty.
And I'm Ryan.
And today is October 19th, 2015, and the newest Star Wars trailer, the non-teaser, 2-minute, 43-second trailer or so, was just released, or 2-minute 35 trailer was just released. This is for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And we just watched it during Monday Night Football, and that was Eagles. No one cares. So yeah, let's get right into it and get started here. It looks like we start off with following Rey. She seems to be in some sort of giant hangar of some sort as she's lowering herself down, looking for scrap or something. I would say this looks like the Super Star Destroyer that we saw on the ground on Jakku, wouldn't you say?
In the first trailer, right?
Yes, the first teaser trailer. Where we see the Millennium Falcon flying in through the Super Star Destroyer. It just looks like either a Star Destroyer or a Super Star Destroyer's hangar. Very large, anyway.
Yeah, and isn't it said that Rey is supposed to be a scavenger of some kind? So this is what her job. She's
Yeah. So it looks like she's a scavenger on Jakku, and Jakku is a new addition to the Star Wars universe. From what it looks like, a desert planet, kind of like Tatooine. But
that's not Tatooine. See, that's how much I know.
So it was speculated for a while on various forums and Reddit and whatnot that Jakku was going to be code for Tatooine. That JJ, just like he did with Khan in the Star Trek reboot. He was going to do, Jakku was going to be Tatooine, wink, wink, nod, nod, nudge, nudge.
Say no more, say no more.
But during the Disney, during the Star Wars Celebration back in, I believe it was May. Yeah, I think that's right, or May or June. But back during the Star Wars Celebration, we had it was announced that it wasn't actually Tatooine, it was Jakku. That was the one where that was the trailer where we first saw BB-8 rolling across the ground there, the dirt, the sand, and that's BB-8. Of course, is the beach ball droid.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts about BB-8, by the way?
I like it. It's a new form of droid. It looks like it requires a lot of lubrication. And I was reading that, was this like a reference to, were these droids found in the Phantom Menace or something, or some other canon elsewhere? It's kind of like a nod to something else.
Well, yes. So what I'm aware of is that apparently they come off of, I don't know if you're aware of Ralph McQuarrie, the concept artist.
Oh, yes, of course.
But he made a lot of Star Wars art that he kind of set the tone. That's it. He
set the visual palette.
That's it.
I used to have some of those those books, with the concept art, like coffee table books, and McQuarrie was in there. Yeah, like little schematics of the Millennium Falcon and all that.
Yes. So so what I'm aware of is that he actually had some concept arts of early R2 of that looked kind of like BB-8 does now, with one big wheel or sphere that he rolls around on top of. But obviously in 1977,
right?
In 76,
you're gonna have a hard time getting a little person into something like that and move around athletically as well.
I'll tell you though, I think Kenny Baker might have had more fun in that one than that.
That's true.
But yeah, so Ralph McQuarrie is obviously, he's a huge impact. In fact, his very first, the X-Wings, the way they look now with their single engine on either side, and they split, the wings, when they split, the engine is kind of bisected. That is a different X-Wing than the X-Wings of the Galactic Civil War, these new X-Wings. And these new X-Wings are also made just like Ralph McQuarrie's original drawings of the X-Wing, so it's kind of a nice nod to him.
Well, I mean, obviously just the look and the feel of Star Wars is almost more important, I think, than the influence of George Lucas, just visually. All the cool, and this is what I wanted to get to in part of this trailer, I guess we'll get there eventually, but the masks. My goodness, the masks in Star Wars are the best.
Yes, and you can thank, for example, go all the way from stormtroopers to Darth Vader to, I'd say even some early Darth Vader that ended up being the sources for Revan, and now this Kylo Ren. All these masks are really what defines Star Wars. All these masks, man,
iconic. It's so great. I can't think of a movie that has better masks or anything. And what is our fascination with masks? And this I just captured it. It felt Star Warsy. Once I saw this is the first time I've seen the mask. Is this the first time it was revealed?
Well, we did. I think we did see a couple of glimpses of Kylo Ren reaching his hand out in one of the earlier trailers. I think teaser trailer number 2, and that was, I think, the first look that we really got. Aside from that, he's always had his back to us, walking through the forest or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but I agree that his mask, and Kylo Ren's mask. It's been said it does evoke a kind of the Revan mask. Initially, when I first saw I actually saw a leaked picture of the mask early on in development, and I thought initially that was supposed to be a kind of twist on the Revan mask.
Right.
But, and it seems that he's got some fascination, Kylo Ren. Apparently there are 7, the Knights of Ren, they're called. There's 7, and we see these Knights of Ren at some point in this trailer, too. We feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay, sorry, so we were back at...
Rey and BB-8 walking towards the sunset that really does... evoke Tatooine, and it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if this Battle of Jakku, maybe someone just renamed Tatooine. I am hedging my bets. It still feels like Tatooine.
It does, but also at the same time, it would be nice to have a Star Wars movie without Tatooine.
Agreed.
Even if it is just under a different name, I guess.
Sure, and here's a bit of trivia. What's the only movie that doesn't have Tatooine featured in it?
Just right off the top of my head, Empire Strikes Back.
That's correct. Yeah, because of course Luke is there in the first A New Hope, and then they return to rescue Han in Episode 6. Obviously, they're stranded there in Episode 1. Then Luke, or rather, Anakin has to go and murder some sand people and have his mother die in his arms in Episode 2. And, they've just got to deposit a baby Luke dump a baby Luke on Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru
right.
at the end of. So it's every movie except for Empire. There's a bit of Tatooine. So, yeah, so it'd be nice to get away from Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine's like where you can leave a lot of your Jedi trash, it seems. It's a big Jawa scavenging yard for Force users.
That is interesting. But I'll tell you, there's at one point, I think it's actually in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, they mentioned that at the end, Vader thinks, and I know I'll never be able to go back to Tatooine. I'll never be able to set foot on there again. And I think that was a little bit of retcon, just so that way it feels like Luke is a little more protected than he is on Tatooine. A little bit of retconning, because I don't actually think that Vader would have a problem doing that. Also, there's the matter of the fact that there's a prophecy that he kind of makes in Episode 1, where he says, I had a dream that I would come back and free all the slaves. He never did that, did he?
Yeah. I guess not.
No. Yeah. So, I guess...
I was trying to even think like on a metaphorical basis, but no.
No, I know. I think that might have just been a loose end that maybe Lucas intended, but kind of gave up on it.
I'm sure that wouldn't be the first thing, but...
No, and it wouldn't. But, interesting. So let's keep playing the movie through, or the trailer through. Rey is contending that she's not important, and she wants to be left alone, it seems. Next, we see what looks like Serenity, the Firefly ship. Looks like it's actually taking off from Jakku. And then we're treated to the Lucasfilm Limited logo.
Always gives the goosebumps.
Yes, yeah, and it's nice to see it again. And, of course, we're back in the Nuremberg trials, or the Nuremberg rallies, rather.
Right.
Definitely evoking that. I don't know if you've read any of the new canon, but in the Aftermath book, there was this. It takes place immediately after Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, and people are worried, or a couple of Imperial people who are thinking, oh, the Emperor is still alive. I don't believe that this rebel propaganda. But other people say, no, we've done facial comparisons between this person who's claiming that he's the Emperor and the actual old Emperor, and they actually don't line up. They're using actors basically to keep the lie alive that the Emperor is still alive, and I thought that was interesting.
Ah,
yeah. So I wonder if this First Order, as it's being called, isn't engaging in some sort of propaganda in that way of its own too.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you think? Now imagine if you were, let's say here we live in a country with a president who's rather public. You'd think you get to know the person's face rather well. I wonder if this person who's standing up in front of this. I'm at 36 or so.
Okay.
And this person who's standing at the top in front of all these First Order stormtroopers, if he's not a phony Emperor, or if he's not maybe there's also the fleet commander in Aftermath. He's also someone who seems like they are pulling strings, kind of the puppet master of the like the next in line to be the Emperor, right? Yeah. Or the person at least leading the remaining forces. Next, we see Finn take off his First Order Stormtrooper helmet, and then we see immediately after him careening through space in a TIE fighter, or I'd imagine to be him. Did you get that impression as well?
I do, yes.
Yeah, and then these First Order TIE fighters are different enough from the old TIE fighters that make it seem like it's believably 30 years have passed. They're similar enough, but enough difference.
There's a couple new models and makes.
Yes, so I've also heard. I have been avoiding spoilers and avoiding leaks. I really haven't been trying to spoil myself at all. And
I would like to say I have as well. That's why I may sound like a less educated Star Wars fan than I am right now, because I permanently keep. This is like the most I know.
Yeah, so we're deliberately kind of keeping yourself in the dark.
Self-exile.
Yeah, and who can blame you? Because the internet's become a dangerous place with all these spoilers. Mm-hmm. There's going to be the First Order, and then aside from that, there's going to be the old Imperials. Because I've seen.
Well, when you think about it logistically, like they're kind of a tattered empire now, right? So they're not going to be able to be all nice and shiny and uniform as well.
Yeah,
potentially.
I get that impression. That's true, and that's right. We did see that one scene even in the last trailer, not this current one, but the last one, where we see a TIE fighter shooting at a hangar of stormtroopers. All right, so after we see what I'd imagine to be Finn's TIE fighter crashing, because we do see him crash, he sounds a little bit disenchanted with the whole Imperial mantra. He says he's got nothing to fight for. And then evocative of when Luke and Obi-Wan are looking down on Mos Eisley, we see Finn looking down on a town in Jakku, or I'd imagine to be Jakku.
Yes. Now he's looking over the dune. I'm just trying to find the right spot. Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, that seems a little bit, feels like a little bit of a nod to that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and George Lucas, when he was making the prequels, he called it the rhyming idea, where there's just certain themes and notes that play. So it'll be interesting to see how much J.J. Abrams integrates some of that storytelling technique, or, for a real pessimist, laziness on George Lucas's part. Like, I've got a bad feeling about this. These kind of classic Star Wars lines. So, as well as as you said, the similar framing and shots. Just like that, looking on Mos Eisley the first time here, Finn looking at Jakku. More exciting stuff to see.
Yes. You'll never find a more wretched hive, scum and villainy. Yeah. So, next, immediately, we were fade in from black from that scene into looks like the bridge of a Star Destroyer. We're really pulling close in, and it's very red and black, very obviously the villains, or what we're meant to think of as the villains. I think, and then the color scheme and framing.
It seems there's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I'd say so. And then, okay, so we're pulling in. We hear Kylo Ren, which is, like I said, one of 7 of the Knights of Ren. And we see a nice reverse shot of his mask. It's metallic.
Beautiful.
He's got a
beautiful
really
mask.
cool voice. I've heard several people online espouse how cool they think that voice is. And what's really creepy is we see who he's speaking. He's speaking, well, I will finish what you started. And creepily, he's speaking to the head of Vader. And it's just deformed and melted. And
right.
He must have gone to Endor and been looking for that pyre that Luke did right before they had that photo op on Endor with all the Ewoks. Any speculation on your part on how he got a hold of Vader's helmet?
Oh, well, these things typically... any easy filler would be the Force, right? And obviously a place where somebody as great as Darth Vader was cremated, I imagine that area is very strong in the dark side.
Yes.
So you could probably just, use the old Force. Find yourself a Vader skull.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So do you think his skull is still in there?
See, that's what this kind of looks like, because they did a good job of it looks like a burnt mask, but it also still has like an organic semi skull-like quality to it. At least in my view.
Yes, it does, and I think it's kind of through the it almost looks like teeth, broken up teeth, where his mouth vocoder would have been.
Right, his voice box, yeah. But so they look like teeth, but obviously it's the voice box.
Yeah, and then it does look like there's a skull still inside of there, and that's just it's just bizarre. Like Kylo is a little bit of a creepy guy, running around just carrying skulls around with him.
As they need, and this is a bit of a tangent, but I think for these new movies, this is what I'm looking for, especially, is the bad guys need to be bad again. The like Darth Vader and the Emperor, they've been the main bad guys in Star Wars since the beginning for almost 40 years. So it's nice to have a complete reboot cinematically of who the bad guys are. I mean, there was General Grievous and Dooku and Darth Maul, but we always knew that they were lesser people. They were like mini bosses, not the main bosses. To use a video game analogy, and to really give it edge, I think that's J.J. Abrams is probably going to do is these guys have to do something really messed up. Like I would use the word they use something fucked up, like in the beginning or something. Somebody has to die, or something really dark to where you really believe there's tension. You really see the evil again, and everybody thinks evil's cool anyway. That's one of the cool things about Star Wars. So I like the skull, and I like the potential for the renewal of evil in these next set of movies.
Yes, well said. And I like your analogy with them being mini bosses, Darth Maul and Dooku being mini bosses to the Emperor and Vader's full evil. We didn't like it when Darth Vader was crying a lot,
right? Yeah, screaming no, and the Palpatine it was a lot. That wasn't like really pure evil. That was just manipulative diplomatic stuff in the prequels, more or less.
He was suffering. He was suffering there, and it was an anguished anger. It was less so than vindictive.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. This is right off the top of my head, but there's really no torture in the prequels, is there?
Let's see. Shmi Skywalker was tortured by the Sand People, or probably.
Well, was that on camera?
No, but she had facial scars and bruises, and I think it's implied that she was raped.
Right. I mean,
yes.
I'm not saying we needed more of that, but but like actually in the original movies, like Han was tortured, kind of a little bit on screen.
Yes,
and he with Vader with the Force choking all the time. We need some sort of visual brutality, which is also a part here. I like as he's torturing this guy ever so briefly, right around the spot we're talking about, the 50 some odd second mark.
Yes, so that was what I was going to jump into next. Was that this looks like, or at least I've heard online that this is Oscar Isaacs, the pilot in his red jumpsuit. That we see later in his red jumpsuit looks like him captured here. I'm not 100%. Kylo Ren is pushing a finger onto onto his forehead, and that is eliciting some sort of torture response.
I always say torture in backing up the idea of we need some more evil,
Yeah, and let's see the bad guys do evil. For instance, we didn't see Darth Maul really do anything evil. He was just attacking Qui-Gon, and then that was pretty much it. Dooku as well, he created a droid army, but he himself seemed like he had political differences with the Republic, but those are kind of excusable as long as he didn't do anything. I guess he put the Jedi into that arena, but
yeah, but I mean, he wasn't that different. I mean, he was a rebel himself, so I guess he wasn't entirely different from the Rebel Alliance, but just in a different way. So
yeah, except he was allied with Dooku knew about Palpatine. Like they were obviously master and apprentice, and so they were both running both sides of the war towards each other until Palpatine decided that he didn't need Dooku and would rather have Anakin on the bridge of that and the Invisible Hand, I believe it was.
Well, and it was too hard to get. Yeah, and so therefore Dooku wasn't just like a badass or anything like that, and we didn't really know him, so it was hard to get like ooh, you jerk! I can't wait for them to beat you in this necessary lightsaber battle at the end. We had very little invested as viewers in who won that fight. We're just curious about how the outcome happened, of sorts.
Yes, but I've actually recently heard that the most violent PG movie of all time
is Empire.
Well, no, I would actually argue that it is Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, really?
Yes, because we see what you're talking about, that terrible scene with Shmi dying in his son's arms, like that, and then he decapitates two sand people sitting right next door to the standing guard, and he murders women and children right there, off screen, admittedly.
See, that's probably what got it the PG instead of the PG-13, which Revenge of the Sith got.
Yeah, well, we do see Dooku's head roll. Okay, and then we also see that the genocide occurring in the Jedi Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of genocide, wow, lighthearted. Speaking of genocide, we get right into this whatever he's doing to Poe Dameron, and with his finger on his head, Kylo is. Then we see some sort of super weapon going off. A huge bomb, perhaps a planet-destroying, maybe looks almost nuclear in nature. Definitely elicits that imagery with these trees just getting blown over like toothpicks in this huge explosion wave. Any idea on what that could be? Another Death Star?
Well, I thought I read that. Was it any of that covered in that Aftermath book at all? That you
as opposed to, in regards to it, super weapon.
Yes, was there any mention of it or
a super weapon? No, not as such. They did have a super star destroyer that they were arguing over the location of. The entire it'd take half the fleet with more firepower than I have any idea, or something along those lines.
Right? Yeah. Basically, not enough power. It would require like the entire fleet or something.
Yes. Well, anyway, so I'm not sure. That's obviously I think that's probably going to be the what is it called? The Ark of the Covenant. The MacGuffin. Is that what they're called? The MacGuffin.
Sounds good to me.
When that's the thing that we need to stop, or the thing that we need to get.
The bugaboo, or yeah. But getting back to that, I think I was reading that. It's potentially like actual planet or something that destroys star systems.
A planet that destroys other star systems?
Yes. I was reading somewhere, a kind of a recap on Grantland.com about they were just discussing the movie poster, and I saw some tangential thing about speculation about that. And I thought I had read that it was in some of the new books, but maybe they were just reading it from some other information that I have been sequestering myself from.
Here we see the Millennium Falcon going, so there's some crazy shots through some canyon, getting chased by some First Order TIE fighters. And then we're suddenly it looks like in the cabin of the Millennium Falcon, where we see Han Solo again. Harrison Ford looking good for an old timer. looks like he's standing in the middle of a star map or a planetary system hologram. It elicits to me, at least, when Obi-Wan took that weird marble to all the little younglings with Yoda when they were training in Episode 2, and he was saying, "Where's Kamino? I can't find it. It should be here, but it's not. I can't figure out where it is." And the kid says, "Oh, someone deleted it." And everyone says, "Oh, that makes sense."
Right? Yeah, it's definitely that same map style.
Oh, yeah, so the dark side and the Jedis, it's true. Everything that you've heard is true about these. So I guess it's kind of a mythology even in their own Star Wars universe that Jedis and dark side, this stuff actually did happen.
Yeah, so that'll be... I have no idea how that's going to play out, but that is a very... yeah, I like that quote as well, because, I mean, there's been a cover-up, I mean... But yeah, that just leads to so many questions. It's not even worth going into.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we can just touch on it briefly. We can talk about how we've already talked about how potentially the emperor could be faked, being still alive, and this cover-up, as you say, might also be like, oh yeah, so there aren't any Jedi anymore. Just like when Tarkin says, the Jedi are all but extinct. You, my friend, are the last of their religion. Like this idea that there's no Jedi anymore, it kind of speaks to the idea that Luke has not been rebuilding the Order.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and of course
he's been slacking. And
well, I was just saying that he's not on the poster. I remember you texting me.
Yeah, that was like the first big standout, and so that could mean a couple of things, right?
Well, yeah. Oh, could he be the villain? Could he be the next Darth Vader? Could that vision on Dagobah be going to come true regardless of his actions? Where he is in the armor of Darth Vader.
Right. It could be good or bad, but like we haven't seen anything of him visually, so we don't know what state he's in. Maybe he just got really fat, and that's kind of embarrassing.
Mark Hamill's looking all right, though.
Well, I know, but I'm saying the character, Luke himself.
Oh,
let himself go a little bit. He's probably drinking a few
some blue milk.
Yeah. Too many spiked blue milks.
Oh yeah, and they're chewing on some spice.
But of course, it also could just mean that, like if I recall, obviously a good parallel here is J.J. Abrams bringing back Leonard Nimoy for the new Star Trek movie, right?
Oh yeah,
and I don't think he was on the poster, and he was basically only in that. Leonard Nimoy was only in that movie for maybe one or two scenes. So I'm just wondering if Luke is only in this briefly, and then has more of a role. That could also be indicative of why he's not on the poster.
I've heard that they're trying to pass the baton to the new generation.
That's true, but then why have Han and Leia there? Well,
they need to have someone pass it, right?
Oh yeah.
So I don't have any. Like I said, I've deliberately been keeping myself from spoilers or insider information, but I do know that I have heard the interviews with the cast on when Chris Hardwick, I think his name. Yes, Chris Hardwick was doing the interview at Comic-Con with everyone, the whole panel. I heard that they're trying to pass. JJ is aware that the cast is getting older. The original cast is getting older, and of course, so they're not going to be able to participate in as difficult stunts and whatnot. So okay, so let's move on. So aside from the star map thing, then we see this great new animation jumping into hyperspace. Just great. You know what I'm talking about with the new animation for the hyperspace.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Are you kidding? That's. It's happening again. It's
it's Ron Paul. It's happening. Yeah. It's great. Oh, and I'm going to tell you, this is going to throw you for a loop. In the prequels, we didn't ever see the jump to hyperspace from the cockpit.
That's true, huh? It's just like
it's weird.
Yeah.
How weird, how iconic, and how just important that idea is. Mm-hmm. Hyperspace. And the fact that it is totally sidelined for the entire prequels. We see the hyperspace rings for the Jedi starfighters. We know that the hyperspace is leaking from Episode 1, which I didn't even know could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Look at a piece of duct tape over the top of that, but
just like they're doing with their excuses for plot. Oh, I didn't. Well, we're sure that can happen.
no, we need to put more midichlorians. But yeah, how strange to kind of hide from those iconic hyperspace trails, but now at least we see that it's back and it looks better than ever. It's great. It fades into these star lines, and then we go into the tunnel. This timeless corridor, as it's been called in several EU, which I always like the sound of that, a timeless corridor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then we see the Knights of Ren. This is Kylo Ren and his kin, I'd say, or I don't know if they're brothers and sisters or if they're just of an order, if they're Sith admirers or
fraternity brothers.
Yeah, who knows? Men, women, aliens. I don't know. We don't have any information, or at least I haven't gone out of my way to spoil myself on exactly who these people are, but I do know that that's what they're being referred to as from the other non-spoiled people, the Knights of Ren.
But and then as we speak of potential members of the Knights of Ren, I'll just do another tangent here. Disney wants to integrate, have the Empire be more... integrative or accepting of alien races and people.
So yeah.
And so
like, they weren't so xenophobic.
Right. And perhaps, who knows what's going on behind those masks.
Gwendolyn Christie, of course, from Game of Thrones. She plays Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones. She was cast as being one of these new stormtroopers. She's Captain Phasma, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yes, so... Gwendolyn Christie's going to be in the all silvered armor. She's chrome armor, chrome trooper. We do see her, I think. Let's keep going with the trailer analysis briefly.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was we see the X-wings flying. There's some crazy dogfights. It looks like this is some foresty planet. If not Endor, then perhaps Yavin, or maybe just another kind of Jakku-like. It just looks similar.
Right.
To those.
My first thought was Kashyyyk for some reason, but I doubt they're going back there.
Well, I'm going to say no. I'm just going to guess it's no.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I'm saying...
the trees aren't big enough.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
But it could be just a deforested plain of Kashyyyk, because I know the Empire has occupation of Kashyyyk as of Aftermath.
Oh, it's a little bit...
Yeah. Yeah, so and interestingly, they are also mentioned in Aftermath that all the Wookiees were enslaved. So I have an inkling that the new Han Solo movie, if that is in fact going to happen, the Han Solo movie is going to probably feature how Han and Chewie ended up together, which would probably be the rescuing of Chewie from the slavers on Kashyyyk. That'd be my...
Yeah, I'm sure on their storyboard... In terms of whatever those movies are going to be, just number one at the top, boom, Han meets Chewie,
Yeah, that's going to be great, I think, anyway. So these dogfights look just exceptional. These look just great. My 8-year-old self is just peeing his pants here looking at this. Mm-hmm. So let's just keep going. We see Poe Dameron and Finn walking past one another. Poe is happy to see Finn, but Finn is oddly stoic, I guess. He's not, maybe it's just kind of a somber occasion. They're going off to a fight or to war, but Finn isn't smiling, like Poe is, or in that instance, so I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of arguing going on. I have absolutely no idea, total speculation. Okay, but I just was letting it play through. We see Finn and Rey face an explosion and BB-8. But right after that, at, let's see, 139, we get, for about half of 1 second, we get this image of Han, Rey, Finn, and BB-8 walking towards this temple-looking thing that has covered in flags and banners. Now, at the very top of the frame, we see a Mandalorian flag. It's very top center. A Mandalorian flag. It looks like an elongated kind of ram face with two horns extending off to either side. That's Mandalorian insignia. That's on Boba Fett's armor, for instance, and it's also
You actually made that out. I can barely see that. I mean, I'm all for Mandalorians, but good eye on you if you caught that. Wow.
Yeah, can you see what I'm talking about?
Vaguely, but...
Oh, yeah, it's on a gray flag. For the YouTube people who are watching or listening to this podcast on YouTube, I will put a little box around exactly the flag I'm talking about. I actually did see someone else point this out on Reddit, so I can't tell you who it is because enough people have pointed it out that credit. I couldn't give you first credit, but I let you know that it wasn't me who found it. But there is clearly a Mandalorian flag there. It could just be an Easter egg, or it could be a hint of perhaps who resides inside of this temple. But there's some crazy looking red droid walking out as they're walking in.
Yeah, that could be the setup for something amazing. Whatever's going on in that temple.
Yeah, I wonder if Luke's in there. I wonder if it's kind of a Jabba's palace kind of thing, or.
Of course, some of the great fun things about Han is his connections to the seedy underbelly of the Star Wars galaxy, and who this could be an old shady friend, or, that's more just fun fanboy speculation. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I know. What flavor? All these colors and banners. That's one of the things that I think was missing from a lot of the prequels was just the extra stuff. You know, Owen always used to say is this lived-in universe, and I think that was missing a lot from the prequels, this lived-in aspect. And I love the weathered flags and just the fact that there are so many of them. I don't know what we're supposed to take away from that. Is that all the people who have been conquered? Is that all the people who have submitted, who pledged themselves, or who have themselves arrived at this temple? It's just up in the air. No answers given. We're just treated to a little flavor.
And of course, it could just be color, just something indicative of just the scene, and maybe no greater meaning whatsoever.
No, but I mean, what jobs would we have? We can't blame us for reading into everything.
I know. Sometimes I just always like to bring up that option. But
yeah.
Right.
So the very next scene is what has been called Luke's hand. Luke and R2 hanging out. Potentially on Mustafar. I think it could be Mustafar. It looks fiery planet. It could also be Tatooine with that outcropping. That rocky outcropping looks a little bit like a rocky outcropping from Episode 2. But yeah, I believe this is Luke we're seeing here on Mustafar. That is. And then we keep going. We're looking like some very flamey, fiery landscape where it looks like some Imperial shuttle has landed, and bad things are happening. And here's Gwendolyn Christie in her chrome armor. We see her with this cape, the chrome armor. Looks like a stormtrooper, just like a dark trooper if you're familiar with those guys. Looks a bit like those. Those are actually...
was that from some now eliminated canon?
Well, I don't know. I think that they're prevalent enough in the legends that they're probably just going to go ahead with that. Yeah, but the Dark Troopers were actually droids, interestingly, who had jetpacks on their back. But yeah, I don't think Gwendolyn Christie's character, Captain Phasma, is going to be a droid. But who can say? So let's keep going. There's Captain Phasma. We see Kylo Ren swinging his saber down. We see Rey sobbing. She doesn't look that thrilled about this. And we see the Finn, Chewie, a wounded Chewie, and Han Solo with her hands up, looking odd and putting them down slowly. Oh, and there's really not much more to talk about on those scenes than just that. But we can see that the next scene that we see is Poe Dameron here flying in a snowy environment with BB-8 in his cockpit. So we know that BB-8 can fit in the new X-Wings.
So yeah, he's obviously an astromech droid.
Yes, well, his dome top looks a bit like an astromech droid. It just, we have always thought that R2 had quite a lot of space for tools and different things in his trash can, his trash can body.
Mm-hmm.
But the BB-8, I don't know. He's got plenty of room in his ball there, but Do you think he'd be able to easily access and repair parts of the X-Wing when he's a ball?
No, of course not. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So,
throw it all out.
It'll be interesting to see how they manage to have this droid be useful, and so at least at the end of Episode 4, when during the trench run, we're able to see R2 holding the stabilizer, in place. See if you can't lock it down. Right, R2's got functions in the back. There's a reason for him to be riding along. So we just need to see how BB-8 is able to fare back there in that clutch spot.
Well, and if he is better, that would be one of the rare cases in Star Wars, in terms of extend the EU, as you say, and what is actually in the movies, being around for thousands of years, or these timelines. It appears there's a very minimal amount leaps in technology. It seems like everything's just flat for thousands of years. Like little tweaks here and there, but it seems to be all there. Like half of these discoveries of it's not necessarily new technologies. Like, they discover some old planet with some ancient technology that's better than the current one they had to get rid of for some reason. I think it's more of the EU rather than the Lucas stuff. But well,
yes. Oh, this is of course called Star Wars. So we'd imagine that there are places in the universe that maybe were more further advanced or were far along, and then they just were cut off, or else were just blown up or taken out in such a way that, and then the war moved on, and then suddenly this great old technology is just lying around. I believe it. It's believable for me.
Oh yes, I can extend. I mean, not that you really have to. I mean, it's Star Wars, for God's sake. But I'm rather than criticizing, I'm kind of enjoying the, I guess, general acceptance of the world of this universe of Star Wars.
Yes, isn't that great? People are just like, all right, this is it's all right. We don't need it's not Star Trek. We don't need hey, how does this work? That doesn't make any sense.
Of course not. Yeah, it's science and
it's not to beat up on Star Trek either, because I know that's another JJ property.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this is played out as well. So it looks like a snowy battle. Maybe Hoth, maybe Renvar. Then we're back to this foresty place with Rey firing. Really, she looks pretty pissed off. We saw her angry. We saw her crying, and we saw her just scavenging around before. So we're getting a hint that Rey is going to be a pretty important or vital character.
I think this is a much more safe speculation. You just say angry, upset, aloof. These are signs, and the way she's positioned angrily, these are signs of the dark side. So I think that if we're going to speculate about anything, it'd probably be easiest that in terms of, because these shifts happen, it could be signs that she could be a next Sith or dark in training. Then
there's another split second of a shot where there's an explosion on what looks like the bridge of some sort of it looks like a Star Destroyer, because I see a mouse droid, one of those little remote control mouse droids. Oh, and then we see Carrie Fisher or Leia resting her head in the arms of Han Solo. Yeah,
this is I got little tears in my eye watching this tonight. A little goosebumps. I mean, it just brings back so many things. It so taps into everybody's mythology. It's and we could get into that in a future podcast a little bit.
Sure.
So I that's one thing I look forward to seeing as well.
Yeah, but there's one very last scene that we can talk about that has it looks like Finn is standing in the forest with Anakin Skywalker's old lightsaber that Luke actually lost on Cloud City. And we see Kylo Ren. This is Kylo Ren walking up with his crazy, dangerous-looking lightsaber up on Finn, and Finn looks a little outmatched. That's the very last scene that we see. Even before the battle even starts, he just doesn't look like he's really got a very firm grasp on how he should respond to this.
Yeah, he doesn't look very confident at any point in this trailer.
No, he is. He looks bewildered, tired, sweaty, running everywhere. Explosions going off behind him, and now that he's actually facing someone else with a lightsaber, he looks a little bit out of his depth.
Yeah, it looks like there's definitely be some strong growing pains for our friend Finn here in this movie.
Yes. All right. So, and with that last scene, we're just going to wrap up this the first episode of the Datapad podcast. So I'm Ty.
I'm Ryan.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for us. So please hit the like button and subscribe, and appreciate it, guys. May the Force be with you.